What's going on, you guys? It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing, baby, representing Team Kings of Games. I'm coming at you guys with a build-a-board workshop. Today I'm going to be doing it with pendulums. I've done it with Lunalight Danger Dinos, with Cristrons, with Super Quantums. You know, I've done it with quite a few decks with Herald of Perfection. And there's I think another deck I just can't think of right now. And I did some break-a-board rec shots with Shaddolls, with playing with Dinos as well. I believe it was Dinos, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it was Dinos, or maybe I'm tripping. But you guys should definitely check out those series, basically with Build-A-Board Workshop and Break-A-Board Workshop. They're very informative. I find they're very helpful for the player base, and people have given, they've got good results. People have given me good feedback for them, so it's kept me encouraged to continue doing these. They're like little series, so I have them listed under seasons and episodes. We're still in Season 1 for Build-A-Board. But right now, I'm going to be showing you guys one of the most incredible openings you can have playing pendulums. But this particular list is not mainstream. It's not what everybody thinks is good. It's not Rest Age, Souls. It's not what everybody's going to scream in your ear saying, oh, this is good, this is bad. Me, as a player, I have my own brain, so I just kind of think for myself, and I know what's good. I know it works. And because Electromite's banned, there's a lack in consistency for scales where pendulum players are always relying on this RNG luck factor where we're using a bunch of draw cards trying to get to the cards you need. I instead play the cards that directly search exactly what I need, and I play cards that are one card that gets 3 spell counters instead of Allure into Desires, Desires to the Upstart to Into the Void. Ooh, I drew a bunch of cards and I got, spell counters, but you still might not draw the right cards. No matter how many cards you're drawing, you don't know what your deck is going to give you. But when you have the cards to directly search them, not only are you going to get what you need, but you're going to get the maximum spell counters. That's why I play Alliance, and I play, the Pendulum Magicians, I play the Zephyrs. They give me consistency in scales, and Alliance and Providence are one cards that get you 3 spell counters for your spell counter holders in this deck. So this is going to be a very, very powerful wombo combo. It's a Build-A-Board, so I always pick a crazy hand for Build-A-Board workshops just to showcase you guys what the deck does when you draw a really, really crazy hand. And it's not like crazy hands don't always happen with Pendulums. They happen very often. It's just for this particular deck, this crazy hand is a lot more crazy than what you guys would typically see, because I play Zephyrs and I play Pendulum Magicians. I'm not playing Pure Endymion with Rest Stage and Magician Souls like what everybody thinks is the best way to do it. So I'm going to show you guys what happens. This is at 3, this is at 3, this is at 3, this is at 3, this is at 3. So there's no Saki 1-ups. I value Magister over like what most people think of him. Like, this card's crazy. I'll get there when we get there, but let's go ahead and start the combo. We're going to go ahead, or basically the Build-A-Board. We're going to start by normal summoning Abductor. And then we're going to activate Magister and Scale. We're going to put a spell counter on Abductor for him being activated. Then we're going to follow up with Mastery. And what's going to happen is, because the spell card got activated, this is going to get a counter, this is going to get 2. We're going to utilize Mastery's effect. Basically, we're going to get our card res. We're going to go ahead and add the extra spell counter for its other ability to place it on top of the Magister, so that we'll have a 2-2 thing going on. 2 spell counters here, 2 spell counters there. We're going to obviously search our Servant. Yeah, we're going to search Servant. Why not? Servant's insane. So as you see right here, we have 2 spell counters each. So the next spell we activate is going to get both these cards 3 counters. So we're going to go ahead and follow up with Servant. That's going to put the Abductor to 3 and the Magister to 3. So the next thing that we're going to do is remove 3 spell counters from Abductor for an on-field effect to search for a level 1 spellcaster. Now for the discard for cost for Pendulum Call, we're going to use the cards that we draw off of Knowledge, one of the cards we draw, as a discard fodder, basically. Now, I don't have a real Magician Soul, so I'm about to grab a... Where's it at? It's a blank card. It's a proxy, because I don't, like I said, I don't have any Magician Souls. So we're going to search Magician Souls off of Abductor. We're going to go back into... We're going to go ahead and reveal that Magician Soul, activating its effect to summon it. I'm going to send Endymion because I'm going to get access to the Jackal King off of Servant. It's not to play around hand traps, because I don't do these Build-A-Board workshops to play around hand traps. You absolutely can, because you already have the cards. You can optimize your board. You have access to the cards that can negate hand traps if you want to do that. I'm just getting access to Jackal King off Servant because it's easier to send the Indy off of the Magician Soul and do it that way with the Celine play, because it also could grant you a potential Odd Eyes Vortex play. And this, obviously, summoning the Jackal King directly to the field gives you a card that's going to continue generating spell counters as you're progressing the rest of your combo, so that it can be a really, really good valid target for a card like Magister to tap into it, and for Celine to tap into it, because you can have cards that are removed from your field, so a card like Jackal King can hold so many counters because he gets 2 for each spell. So now that we've gotten there, what we're going to do is we're going to follow up with the Link Summon. So Abductor's going to face up extra, that's going to grave. For Crawley, best case scenario, since this is a build-a-board, is going to be either knowledge or secrets. I'm just going to go with the best case scenario. Because like I said, this is a build-a-board workshop. I'm just here to show you guys that, really not to say, oh, pendulums aren't dead, just here to show you guys the power of this deck. Just like all the other decks I show in my build-a-board workshops, I'm showing you guys how good that deck is when it does, you know, and it's like, dang, when you're opening so good. So the next thing that we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to follow up. I would say we can go ahead and just follow up with the Magister. We want to get Magister on board because I actually value his effect. Unlike most Pendulum players, and I do say most, especially the mainstream ones, I utilize Magister as my deck's multi-faker. This card has saved my life. It's came in the clutch, bouncing Dingirsu with Reflection. You know, Conductor in battle phase effect because it's once per opponent's turn, not per opponent's main phase. You can use its effect to summon Reflection to bounce Conductor in battle phase. He already couldn't Book of Eclipse your field because you have like so many negates to stop Miscellaneous in his effect. They're just trying to attack over everything because he's so big. You just bounce it and it saves your life. The card is insane when you open your Cerberus or any kind of regular combo for spell counter holders. It's just literally, it's utterly powerful, dude. Like, it's so strong. Even if you couldn't play around Nibiru and your board got Nibiru'd, pre-pinned, you can just use this card. Basically, you can pin summon, then use this card to get even more advantage after that. Like, there's so many things Magister can do. For me, I do not understand why people say this card's bad, besides the fact that they're probably just listening to people yelling in their ear, and they're just not using their own. Like, I think for myself, I'm not going to let somebody, you know, like, I have my own brain, but that's my only reason why I feel like people would say this card's bad, because for me, as a competitive player with multiple tops, and I mean multiple tops playing Pendulums, this card has always like came through with the clutch for me when I needed it. It's so good. So we're at this point right now. What we're going to go ahead and do, we can summon multiple Selines, which is like super awesome, you guys. So what we're going to go ahead and do here is we're going to activate the Spellbook of Secrets. It's going to put 2 counters on Abductor and 1 counter on the Servant. And we're going to go ahead and search for the Spellbook of Knowledge. So we're going to go ahead and summon Selene a little bit early for our first copy of Selene. And my Selenes are proxies because I don't have any. Just so that we can utilize her effect to bring out Endymion and then knowledge her away because we're going to summon another one anyways. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to link with this Abductor and this Crawley into our first copy of Selene. She's going to get 1 to exactly 3 spell counters. That's all you needed for her because you're just about to use her effect right away. You're going to remove 3, summon the Indy from your graveyard off of her effect, and then you're going to activate your Spellbook of Knowledge, and you're going to send her off, putting 2 counters on the Servant, and then you're going to draw 2 cards. The cards I drew were Reflection and Oracle of Zephyr. That's kind of nutty. Also, Reflection is a really good pin call target because it can be revived off of another copy of Selene, which is kind of bonkers. So it's not really that bad to draw the Reflection, honestly. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and activate Duelist Alliance. And something that's so nutty about how much critical mass you have with this hand, even if your opponent wanted to Nibiru you preemptively, like they could have been Nibiru'd you, it doesn't matter because you still haven't resolved Servant, you still haven't even Pendulum summoned, you haven't even used the Pendulum Call to get Harmonizing your scales, you haven't even got Zephyrath, you haven't got Zephyr New, your Counter Trap. This is just too much power, this is too much. So, you know, for things of that nature, and I'm not playing around Nibiru, I'm just naming it because, like, you know, somebody might name drop it. Like this board that I'm going to end on is going to be able to also play around Dark Ruler no more because I get a counter trap. But I'm not saying it like, oh, I'm here to play around everything. I'm just building the most ridiculously powerful board like as possible because that's one thing that Pendulums can do. So Servant's at 3 counters. This is actually really, really crazy, you guys. We're going to remove 3 for Servant. I'm going to summon her here because she's actually going to get used for link material. And I'm going to go ahead and get out the Jackal King. So, like, if your opponent was like, oh, I want to wait, which obviously isn't smart, you know, it would have been like, dang, Nibiru is kind of too late. And now you can kind of, you know, like, not saying that it's supposed to happen that way, but you could actually play around Imperm and Nibiru. But I'm not saying you're supposed to do that. And I'm not saying that your opponent would wait this late to do Nibiru either. Like I said, this is just a build a board workshop. So they both get a spell counter. So the next thing that I'm going to do I have an Oracle and a Providence, so I can kind of just use the Oracle to get an extra monster if I really wanted to. So I kind of want the Reflection engraved just so I can revive it off Selene, so I can have another good target off Selene, so Selene can be another interruption. So I'm thinking, because there's obviously a lot of things you can do. I have like something in mind already, but I want to make this as like the most, basically the biggest monstrosity as possible. Obviously this board already, before I do anything else, this is 3 interruptions. Endymion negate, Jackal negate, and Magister's effect on field, because I can just scale to get more spell counters for Magister to use this effect and for Jackal King, but we're not done. So what I would say here, I could high key just basically scale the Reflection if I wanted to. I could just scale the Reflection. I could go ahead and just pin call pitching the Oracle, and then I could search out, you know, my Dragon Pit and my Harmonizing. Then I could activate Providence, you know, get another Oracle, use Oracle for Zephyr Neo, and I can make the play that way. So basically then I'd be able to link these two into a, what's that girl's name? IP Masquerena, or I could go into a Cross Sheep. You know, it basically, it depends. It totally does depend. IP Masquerena or a Cross Sheep, you know. Cross Sheep would probably be better, so I go ahead and just grab my Cross Sheep out of my Shadal's extra deck, because I think Cross Sheep would be a better choice for this particular instance. So I could link these into a Cross Sheep, and then once I come into my Pin Summon, I do my Harmonizing combo, and I end up summoning my Vortex. I can basically use the Cross Sheep to revive the Magician's Soul, so I can make another Selene. So I think that's the line of play that I'm going to go with. So I'm going to go ahead and activate Pin Call. So, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and drop his counters here. I'm going to discard the extra copy of Oracle. And I'm going to go ahead and grab a Harmonizing and a Dragon Pit Magician. Oh, thank you, baby. So I'm going to grab these 2 cards. You know what, I should have just scaled Reflection already, right? So might as well just do that, because it's just spell counters everywhere. So I'm just going to scale Reflection before I do that. And then pin call for these. I'll go ahead and convert these 2 into the Cross Sheep. Scale the Dragon Pit. So Jackal King is actually going to be at 7. This is going to be at 2. Providence. That's going to jump up to 3. That's going to jump up to 9. Providence for Oracle for the pluses. There's another hand that I can show you where you can get more pluses off Magician's Soul by resolving Oracle and then sending it off to draw. It's just crazy. 4 counters now for Reflection. That's going to be... Goodness gracious, this Jackal King has 11 counters. So the Oracle of Zephyr is going to go ahead and grab you a Zephyr Neo. And while this is an exciting board, I'm just going to stay level-headed for the entirety of this video, because I have a family right now. My baby girl's trying to sleep, and also at the same time, me screaming or anything like being excited, it might get you guys a bit confused, or you might not be able to understand me. So for just right now, I'm just going to play it out like that. So the next thing that we're going to do is obviously we're going to pin summon. So these cards have to come out. So I'm kind of thinking, alright, so this is how much space we have. So as I'm thinking, you know, I can basically utilize, I can bring out the Indy. If I bring out the Indy, I have to sacrifice. But if I was to link that off, dang, this is too much sauce, because now I have to sacrifice. Basically, my Indy's going to have to stay there. Jackal King, he's just holding spell counters, so it really does matter for me right now. So what I would do is, yeah, I would just go ahead and pin out the Zephyr Neo and the Harmonizing. And, you know, chain links don't really matter at this point. I'll get out my Counter Trap, and I'll get out the Time Gazer. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to Synchro Summon. That's going to go to the Banish Zone. And I'm going to go ahead and summon out the Meteor Burst. I'm not going to use Cross Sheep yet. Meteor Burst is going to target the Dragon Pit. Reflection's holding counters. Summon that. We'll go ahead and overlay these 2. It doesn't even have to be where cross sheet points to, honestly. Into a Odd Eyes Absolute Dragon. And the next thing that we can do is go ahead and take this bad boy right here, link with them, and the Absolute to go into our copy of IP Masquerena, utilize the Meteor Burst, not the Meteor Burst, the Absolute to summon the Vortex, and that's going to trigger the cross sheet, which will bring back our Magician's Soul, my proxy. And then we can go ahead and take this cross sheet. And as I'm thinking now, because I don't really have any more good targets for my Celine, I'm strongly considering just going, like leaving my board like this and kind of just using IP to convert all of these into an Appaloosa, so I can make my board even more nutty. So I think I would keep the board like this. So the ending board as things stand right now, you have an Omni Negate from Vortex, you have Magister, it's going to put in so much work. You basically have the Jackal King, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4 interruptions. And then you're going to have Appaloosa potentially for 4, because after you use Magister's effect, you can just link with him in the IP, and you can go Oppo for 4, so that's going to be a 3200 indestructible Oppo. So you basically have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 interruptions just off that alone, without even pin summoning off the indie from the extra deck. And there was literally no space because the board's just so nutty. And this is not the only board you can make with this hand. This really isn't. This is just the route I chose to go. And I'm kind of glad that I didn't summon another Celine now that I'm thinking of it, because she didn't really have any extra good targets. And I didn't really have anything in hand to summon off of her. And summoning Dragon Pit off of her is like, okay, you know. So I could potentially, for example, another route that I could do, if you guys want to see, I could do this right here. The board will still be insane, so I'll show you guys this. This is another route you can take. Like I said, there's multiple ways you can end this board. So I'm going to show you guys something else really, really strong. That's basically, this is going to be GG no read. Because like I said, this isn't like, I'm not saying, oh, this is the route that's the best route. I'm saying it's the one I chose to take. This is something else that I can do. I can summon my second copy of Celine right here. She's going to gain Lord knows how many counters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is definitely GG no read. She has 9 counters. The reason why is GG no read, you guys will see right now. We're going to remove 3 from her effect. Remove 3 from her. We're going to go ahead and summon the Dragon Pit. These are both spellcasters. So what we're going to do is we're going to link with the Celine and the Dragon Pit. Proxy Celine, remember that. Go into Union Carrier and just, this is game right now. So we're going to target the Vortex. Now if I'm playing competitive, this is what I'm going to do. I don't care how many negates I have. I'm about to lock my opponent out of their extra deck. I'm about to play around Dark Ruler no more with my counter trap. And this is just too much. This is too much right here. And you can still go Oppo for 3. So this is even stronger. Instead of going Oppo for 4, you just sacrifice 1 negate off Oppo to get an extra deck lock. You can Union Carry targeting the Vortex because he's a dragon. He's the best target on this board right now. So you have your counter trap. Your opponent can't use their extra deck. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 forms of interruption. But actually, the amount of negates you have is 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. Because what happens is, even on your opponent's standby, if you just want to be trigger happy, you can just remove 3 from the Jackal King. Bust out an Endymion right here, right now. It's not like they can super poly you. You can bust out the Indy. And even if they have Spear Mode, it's too much. This board right here, it's too much right now. So even Spear Mode's not going to save you from everything on this board. I'm telling you that right now. Because what you would Spear Mode is 1, 2, and 3. I would still have my IP. I'd still have my Magister. I'd still have the Unicarry. I'd still have the Counter Trap. So I could still go Oppo for 3. So it's just like Spear Mode can clear some of the board. But it's like, you know, it's too much. But I'm not trying to play around Spear Mode. I'm just trying to make the most degenerate board as possible. So you could summon out the Indy right here, right now. And basically what you can end up doing is you can utilize these and the Magister. Or you could just leave it there to bounce it for a scale for the following turn. But there might not be a following turn. I'm not saying that it's guaranteed, because you know anything can happen in competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! But you could basically link all of these into the Appaloosa for 3. And basically this is your these are your negates. Because remember, this stops your opponent from summoning from their extra deck, but not you. So you have 1, 2, 3, 6, 7 negates. Dark Ruler no more is being stopped by this counter trap. Your opponent doesn't have an extra deck, so even if they have double Dark Ruler no more, you negate the first one, they activate it again, they still don't have an extra deck. Keep that in mind. So this is pretty crazy, you guys. Like this is Pendulums. But if you're playing a list that doesn't play Zephyros and you're playing a list that does not play Pendulum Magicians, you might not be able to do stuff like this that often. I'm not saying it's impossible, but you just might not, because you're basically going to be playing Selene Turbo at that point, and I'm pretty sure that's what everybody's playing, because like instead of trying to innovate and figure out their own way to play a deck, a lot of times the Pendulum community, and I'm not saying this is everybody, but a lot of the times they will cookie cut the list, from a popular player or anybody, any kind of popular, for example, content creator. Not saying like, oh, me necessarily, but they'll cookie cut lists, and then they'll basically go about with this mindset that there is only one way to play this deck. And they will never consider cards that other people will tell them is trash. They'll say, oh, this can be Ash Blossom, oh, this can be Ghost Ogre, oh, this could be Cosmic Cyclone, forgetting it's like, dang, are they going to have it every time? And if that's the case, look at how many cards in your deck that can be hit by those cards. So does that mean I just stop playing this deck? No. You just adapt. You learn how to play around those cards. You play as if they have it, and you start getting used to that, and before you know it, you formulated a game plan to play around your deck's biggest weakness. But yeah, you guys, let's see. That's 21 minutes. If you guys want to see other crazy combos, I do have a Pendulum combo tutorial on this channel that you guys can look up. That just ended up taking a lot of time, but this is hopefully this Build-A-Board workshop helped you guys out. Not saying like, oh, this is what you're going to draw every time, but just look at the boards that you can make, and if this doesn't inspire you to try out Magicians and Zephyrs in your list, I don't know what will, because you can even use pen call for combos to go into Needle Fiber. You can have Harmonizing for your Vortex play in White Wing with an additional monster to go into Needle, and you can have Vortex, Borload Savage, Arclight. It's like you can do so much with this deck. It's crazy. But when you're not really playing tuners or anything, you lose access to synchro monsters if you're playing pure indie, because they don't have any tuners. You lose access to synchros, and also it's very hard for that deck to make Abyss Dweller, because it's pure indie. You have like level 3s, level 7s, you're making Vortex a lot of times, and you're making Selene a lot of the times, and you're also don't have a main deck out to Dark Ruler unless you convert to the Rest Stage build, and I feel that's very bricky. Rest Stage to me is just like Mythical Institution. It's situational on activation, and the only other benefit it gets is if you send it from the field to the grave, or you send it to the grave in general, it can search out the card that can negate the Super Poly. But are you going to open Magician's Soul every time? No, not really. And what happens, like what happens if Magician's Soul doesn't resolve? Then it's like, dang, you have a dead card. At that point, I'd rather play Mythical Institution, because at least, regardless of what the composition of my hand is, the card actually has an ability to search my, my servants, search out the cards that I need, search my Magister. So it's a really strong card. For me, I'd play Institution over Rest Stage any day, just for the simple fact that I already have ways to play around Super Poly. I like my opponent on my extra deck. I already have ways to play around Dark Ruler, because I have a counter trap that's in my archetype specific card, So for me, it's different. But I'm not like a lot of Pendulum players, and it's not boastful. It's just I'm not like them. I don't really agree with a lot of them. But to each his own. That's the beauty about this game. You can play your deck in so many different ways, and who says anyways right or wrong? As long as it wins at the end of the day, that's what we're here for. To have fun and win. But I'm gonna say a quick prayer. If you guys don't like the prayer, just skip past this part. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, Jesus. Thy kingdom come, and thy will be done on earth just as it is in heaven. Please give us this day our daily bread, Lord, and please forgive us of our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, Father, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the glory, and the power forever. In the mighty name of Jesus, I pray. Thank you, Heavenly Father. Amen. All right, you guys. Deuces as well. Hopefully you guys appreciated this video. I'm open to any feedback at all. I know everybody watching this video, there might be some people that actually do play Pendulums, and they feel you could have done this different, you could have done this different. If you have some kind of pointer that could make the indie board better, I'm always open, my dude. Like, this deck has so many... Basically, there's so many exploitations and so many things that you can do with this deck that really, like I said, there's no right or wrong way. So if you guys feel like, oh, you could have done this, you could have done that, I don't mind if you comment it. It's like, it's no big deal. But I definitely will recommend that you guys at least try some of the cards I'm playing, because you'll notice a difference. Because I'm not trying to replace Electromite necessarily. I'm just trying to replace the consistency that the deck lost due to him being banned, if that makes sense. I'm not like, oh, Selene's my Electromite. She's not. She doesn't send a Pendulum card from your extra deck, and she doesn't pop a skill, and she doesn't draw. She's nothing like Electromite. All she does is summon spellcasters from your graveyard and your hand, and hold spell counters. So she's only good for Endymions and not good for every Pendulum deck, if you guys understand what I'm saying. But cards like Pendulum Call and the Zephyr cards can help you to get the consistency in scales That's what really matters for me. The pendulum mechanic requires scales, high and low, all the time, or you can't pin summon and you're not using your mechanic to the best of its ability. But to each his own. Feel free to disagree if you disagree. That's absolutely fine, but I'm going to go ahead and just log out this video, yo. Deuces is wild, you guys.